So, Fear the Walking Dead is back with its first episode of season 7. This episode is called The Beacon, and it's going to be a full spoiler review for this episode. So, if you haven't seen this episode yet and you don't want to get it spoiled for you, don't watch this review. I remember when Fear the Walking Dead season 6 was coming out, and my expectations for that were in the toilet. I was expecting that to be a terrible, terrible season. Season 5 was god awful. But then by the end of season 6, it actually has become one of my favourite all time as a whole Walking Dead seasons. I think it's better than season 10 of The Walking Dead. So I went into season 7 with different expectations than I went in with season 6. I went in with high expectations. I thought, wow, after season 6, they really changed it, but they changed everything. 4 and 5. 4 started off great, back half was bad. Same for season 5, and I was just expecting nothing from 6. But for 7, I had expectations. I thought the trailers, which I haven't seen many of, I've been kind of staying away from marketing for season 7, and as well, I don't think there's been an awful lot of it. I've seen the poster where it's Morgan and Strand pretty much shouting each other's faces. Besides that, I saw a couple of clips, but really not a lot. So I went into this, as I said, with high expectations. I was looking forward to seeing how all this was going to play out. And episode 1, I actually thought was brilliant. I was quite surprised that episode 1 doesn't have Morgan in it at all, and that it follows Strand. I was kind of going into it expecting it to be a Morgan and Grace centered episode where we see how they've been kind of living in the apocalypse. So you can imagine how surprised and how shocked I was when it was actually Strand. I think everyone was kind of going into it expecting it to be Morgan, because of course Morgan's our main character really of the show, so everyone was expecting episode 1 to be a Morgan centric episode. And just like season 6, when I watched season 6 episode 1, the episode where Morgan's kind of pretty much kind of very close to death, just roaming around the place, I said that felt like a little mini movie. I feel the same for this episode. This feels like a very standalone mini movie of watching Strand and how Strand has changed. I think they said it was about, I can't remember exactly, I think it was 3 or 4 months since the initial nuclear explosion. And the atmosphere, the look and everything of what has been done is honestly beautiful. Like the whole, you can see where Strand's community is, that's further out so you don't have it, but if you go into probably where Morgan and a lot of the other group are, they've got the sky is orange, everything is destroyed, you see walkers just on the ground, you see so much stuff all around the place just honestly just destroyed, and it looks honestly beautiful. It's great to see Fear the Walking Dead, because back in not 6 but season 5, they had a really ugly kind of bland emotionless colour tone over it that really was horrible to watch. They changed that around for season 6 and even for season 7 now. Well, they kind of had to do it for season 7 because they blew up Texas. But the look of it is honestly beautiful. And we get introduced to a character at the start of the episode where we don't see his face, we don't see anything about him, he doesn't say a word. He's just going around. And for a good portion of it, I was kind of under the impression that it was actually Morgan. He's got the mask on. He's got one of those reader guns to make sure there's no nuclear waste or nuclear radiation on any of the products. You see him doing all that. So I was very kind of thinking, okay, this is Morgan. But then we actually get introduced to him, and it's a guy named Will. And Will was someone who at first I was thinking, oh, he's probably going to be a nothing character. And as the episode went on, I was actually enjoying Will a lot more, and he actually became a pretty likable character who I actually would love him to see a little bit more of. And that just shows how good of a character he was for the little bit he was in. The fact that I'm really disappointed that he's gone. A lot of characters in not only Fear the Walking Dead, but The Walking Dead in general, you got a lot of characters who outstay their welcome so much that as soon as they leave, you're like, finally they're gone. Tara is a big example of that in The Walking Dead. I think Luciana is a big character like that in Fear the Walking Dead, who I think should have died seasons ago. She came in season 2, we're in season 7 now. I think she should have died in season 5, but that's just my opinion. So I feel like she's a character who stayed around way too long, and I feel like Will is the complete opposite, where I would love him to see more of this guy. He's very likable. You can tell he's very he's not 100% good guy or bad guy. You can tell he's done some things in the past, but you can tell that he's a guy who would get on well with Morgan and Morgan's group, and he would have been a good guy. He would have been part of our group moving forward, but of course he didn't. But as I said, we do see a kind of a day in the life of him at the start. You see these group of people who are stripping the walkers, completely taking their clothes away. We don't actually find out who it was in this episode. At first, I thought it was Strand's group, because when the Strands group got introduced, I thought, okay, they're probably the ones stripping the walkers. At one stage, I thought, could it be Morgan and his group? But then I immediately thought, no. My guess now is CRM. I could be completely wrong with that, but my guess at the moment is CRM. It's kind of just seems like something the CRM would do. I feel like they would know exactly that Texas has been blown up, so they're going in there to try and do whatever the CRM wants to do in there. I imagine that's who it is in there. But you see he gets so desperate to eat something. He finds, I don't know what it was, something dead in the ground that rats have been eating. He starts cooking it, and he's about to eat it, but then of course, as I said, Strand's soldiers show up. They take him back to the compound, they strip him down, they clean him, they give him new clothes, they do everything to get all the radiation, everything off of him, and then we see him going through the building. Strand gets introduced again in this season. Strand looks great. He's got a big kind of military outfit on, he's got a sword, he's got a little hat, and we get to see a little bit of his community, not a lot. We see he's grown the community in the building he was in at the end of season 6. We see he's created a farm on the top. He's created something, loads of people love it. It really seems very safe. A big amount of community people are there. Loads of people were actually there, for a matter of fact. People that he found in the nuclear blast or just outside of the outside of his building. Loads of people there, and for the most part he said in this episode that that's been the first time he's left in a long time. But he does seem to have a pretty good setup there, but you can tell Strand is gone completely villainous. Even he says in this episode he's watched a lot of people try to do stuff like this and fail because they got emotionally attached, of course implying Morgan, of course Virginia and Madison. So he's saying he's going to get rid of emotion altogether, and he wants to kill anyone that he gets emotionally attached to. One of the reasons he kind of kills Will, because him and Will create some sort of bond over wanting to find Alicia. So he thinks, okay, I'm just going to have to kill this guy. But they do go out on a quest together, the two of them, to find Alicia, because Will shows Strand a necklace that Alicia had. They go out, they go to a lighthouse, which is pretty cool to see a lighthouse. They take the light actually back to Strand's compound, but I'll come back to that. That part of the episode was actually pretty cool because it was all foggy, so they couldn't even see the walkers. So the wheel goes up, he puts the light on, he moves it around. Stranded there killing the walkers, light goes off, they go down, they kill the walkers together. All that was pretty cool, pretty different, pretty unique. We haven't seen much fog in the Walking Dead universe of killing walkers, and it's great that they're still able to come up with all these different concepts of killing walkers, showing scenes of killing walkers, so it's not always the same old shit from the Walking Dead universe. It's great that they've been able to do something different to make it still as interesting and still as relevant as it was from episode 1, Days Gone By, of the Walking Dead main series. As they're killing the walker, Strand almost gets bit at one point, but we see Will actually save his life, really showing us that Will has now trusted Strand. He wants to see Strand succeed. He wants to see Strand get reunited with Alicia. He thinks for different reasons than what Will wants to do. Will wants to get reunited with Alicia because he loves her. Strand wants to get Alicia so he can prove to her that he was able to do it, and I kind of got the impression that he could eliminate her because of emotions. He doesn't want to be emotionally attached to anyone, so I think he wants to get rid of her. I don't know if Strand would actually kill her, but I don't really know what Strand's overall plan is to do with Alicia. But they go to the hotel that we saw Alicia get trapped in, like a season 6 episode like 13-14. I don't know what the actress is doing, but she hasn't been shown in Fear the Walking Dead in quite a while. Even at the end of season 6, where you see the nuclear blast go off and you show everyone's reaction, you just see the cell door. You don't see Alicia, which I always thought was very weird. So I don't know what the actress is actually doing, but I feel like she must be doing something if she hasn't been shown in The Walking Dead at all. You see a painting and a portrait of her on the wall, which is pretty cool. It was kind of implied that she'd done that herself, which is quite amazing because, like, I don't remember Alicia painting much. I know she painted at the end of season 5. We saw her spray paint every now and again. But to do something like that, I thought was a bit shocking. But anyways, as I said, the hotel has been completely flattened. Alicia and the group have left to try and find something better. Makes sense why they'd leave instead of staying at the bottom of a blown up hotel. Of course, they were safe down there, but for how long would they be safe there? So they kind of go off. We get the reveal that well, Will loves her, as I said already. It was a good bit of back and forth between them. Not amazing, wasn't great. I enjoyed it. It was good to see a bit of Will's perspective and everything, as well as Strand's perspective on them, to see how they work together and see what common goals they have, and some stuff that they both, some that they agree with and some that they disagree with. It was great to see these two characters bounce off each other, which is another reason why I'm disappointed Will's gone, because I would like him to see him with Strand again, because I do think these two were a good pairing. But they do bring the lighthouse light back to the top of the tower. They send it off to show around. Will was under the impression they were doing that so people could see it and come to them. At first, that was my immediate reaction. I felt like that's something everyone would do to try and help people. But no, Strand's idea of doing that is to tell people to not come here. He's indicating that there is a settlement here, don't come here. I thought that was a bit of an odd way of doing it. I feel like if I was in the apocalypse, if I saw a shining light like that, I think I would make my way to it too. But Strand has the idea that if someone sees that, they're just going to go the opposite way. I thought it was a bit odd, but of course makes sense in Strand's head. And then we got to see something that I honestly thought was very, very shocking. Strand throws Will off the roof. I was shocked by this. I really was. I was really under the impression that Will was going to be a lasting character. I thought he was going to be a new character, a new part of our group. I thought he was going to reunite with Alicia. But no, Strand throws him off the roof, really showing how Strand is just done with all emotional stuff. He is done being the nice guy. He is going to be the Strand he always knew he was going to be. And honestly, I was shocked by the reveal of seeing Strand throw him off the roof, and I don't know what's going to happen now. Of course, at the end of season 6, we saw Strand attempt to kill Morgan, and now I feel like Strand isn't just going to attempt it. I feel like Strand, if he gets the opportunity, he's going to really try and kill Morgan, because you can tell, even Morgan gets mentioned in this episode, you can tell Strand hates Morgan. So I feel like if he gets the opportunity, Strand is going to kill Morgan. So that just makes me more excited for Fear the Walking Dead moving forward. I'm very, very excited for episode 2. I don't know what it's going to be about. I imagine it will be us picking up with Morgan, but I really don't know. Lenny James has actually mentioned recently about coming back to The Walking Dead for the final season. I don't know how it's all going to work, because Fear the Walking Dead, I imagine Fear the Walking Dead season 7 will wrap up before The Walking Dead season 11 wraps up. So maybe at the end of season 7 or midway through season 7, we're going to get a massive time skip. My prediction going into season 7 was we were going to get a big time skip at the start of season 7, but of course now seeing it, we haven't. But maybe after this, this was our episode to show Strand, and maybe it'd be a big time skip, because I really do expect a big time skip soon enough. So hopefully Morgan will go back to the main show. He'll go off and find Rick somehow, because I would love to see Morgan and Rick reunite at some point. Really, really cannot wait for that. If you want to hear future Walking Dead content from me, though, click the subscribe button as always, so you can see Feared Walking Dead content as well as the World Beyond. I'm not a really big fan of World Beyond, so if you want to hear me crap on it every week, which seems to happen for the last 12 episodes anyways, make sure you click that subscribe button to come back in here. Future Walking Dead content from me. And as always, thanks for watching.